In a corporate job, you get paid by the hour. So if you do this every day, you work for 2 months and nothing happens, and you calculate the hours that you work and you think you're not being paid, you're not the right mindset.
Love it.
This is a business, okay?
Super, super.
However, when you do succeed, it overrides all the hours that you worked and make your income to be like $500 an hour. So you've got to have a business mindset.
Hey guys, welcome back to the VIP Financial Ed YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've got another very special guest. She's been on the channel here before, Miss Tan Michelle. Last time we had her on, which I'll link in the description below, she was sharing with us her brief experience with Little Pink Houses of America. I think at the time she had roughly 2 months worth of experience. For those of you that are new to this channel, we have featured a playlist regarding the Little Pink Houses of America business model. It's an opportunity that I've been uniquely excited about for the past few years, developed a great friendship with one of the founders, Michael Matthey. Have had him here on the channel a number of times talking about that business model. Full transparency, I am not personally a Little Pink Houses of America affiliate or rep. They are a sponsor here of this channel. However, I'm just constantly trying to track people's progress, and that's why I asked Tan to come back and go ahead and visit the first video that we did together. It'll probably answer some of your preliminary questions. You know, it was really cool meeting with her because she had a lot of this early success. And I asked her, would she be willing to come back on the channel a few months down the road? And here we are, almost exactly 3 months later. I'm just so fired up to learn what has happened since then. And so she was in Singapore the last time we were on video. I don't think you're in Singapore now, right? Are you in Atlanta?
I am in Atlanta, absolutely.
Okay, great. So, and I know you're flying out just a little later today. So thank you again so much for your time. I'm just so grateful for it. So we had a lot of people excited about your last video because you had, I want to say at the time, already put 15 deals into contract, right?
Yes.
And Michael and I have talked a lot about what he thinks and shares are what the statistical potential is of active affiliates inside the Pink Houses model. And he's always talking about $15,000 to $30,000 per month. And so I'm sitting here thinking to myself, man, this math is great for most people in order to level up their income. So here we are, we're 5 months in basically now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, number one, how is everything going so far?
Well, the state of union is strong, it's vibrant, and it's most rewarding in every sense of the word, at every level. So since I came back from Singapore in the middle of February, I started putting my head down and started working on the properties that we had contracted on. So in about 2 weeks, we got a buyer and we closed a deal. And back to back in April, we had another one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So within the one in late March and one in beginning of April. In fact, April, we did 2 deals. So,
oh, wow. So you have 3 deals under your belt now?
Yes. And we're in the middle of negotiating 2 right now. And one of them at the moment, the papers have gone out and it's a full price offer, which is wonderful. And it's like $659,000, which is pretty high end here for Atlanta at this point in time. So that will be our highest value house at the moment.
Would that be your highest takeaway, your proceeds as well?
I imagine we haven't done the transaction yet, haven't put the deal together yet, but the buyer's just putting the offer in right now. So then we'll work out what the transaction will be.
Can we ask what your total revenues are so far?
Well, the total revenue, the first transaction was $23,400.
That was your takeaway?
Yes.
Wow.
Second one was $21,200. Wow. And the third one is $32,000. I have to qualify. I have to qualify the third one, and this is the gift working with Pink, because most of us are kind of part-time investors anyway before we came on. So I have to qualify the third one. I had help from Pink, but it's a private deal that I had as an investor before on one of my previous properties. So the gift of working with Pink is that they're so willing, the management, to share and give you good advice on some personal deals as well. So I managed to do that one as well. But just Pink itself was 2 deals at about $44,000.
Holy smokes. Okay, so 44,000 plus the 32. So we're getting near 80K if you're counting that third. How does that measure up to what your expectations were coming in for the first 5 months of being in business?
Okay, in terms of the reward, it blew my mind. Because you know that when we got into Pink, we were always told that the minimum fee is $10,000. right? So as babies, we just think if we get 10,000 for a deal, it's great. So did I think that I was going to get over $10,000? I didn't. So I was overwhelmed. I was surprised. And it goes to reflect the geniuses in the corporate world, you know. Not that I didn't know that they were geniuses, but it's great to see the leaders in the corporate actually put the deal together. So what I was taken about this business is that I just have to bring the seller contract and I bring the buyer contract offer, and I don't have to put the deal together. At the end of the day, it is Scott that puts the deal together. And to see Scott perform live, to bring these two, the seller's contract and the buyer's contract, and to structure it and deliver it in his expertise manner, it's very mesmerizing. So,
is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, we've had some limited experience with Scott, and we've been impressed. We've always enjoyed his thoroughness, his professionalism, and so I am always curious about the behind the scenes. If I'm not directly working with somebody, but you know, as sponsors of our channel, they're going to be expected to tell me things that, you know, I would want to know. So I like to see the execution and the follow through after the fact and get that straight from you. So that's awesome. So if you had to kind of narrow down your overall conclusion of the customer service and the support that you're receiving, I know you were thrilled with it in the first 2 months. Has that been consistent since then too?
Absolutely. Now, we've taken things to the next level now. So since in late January, I got to know we were assigned a coach. Okay, so Pink has taken on several coaches. I was assigned a coach, and I have to say, you know, I have to honor this guy. He has done so much in helping us along the way.
Oh, really?
You know, the corporate has got different support system, but every one of the support system is related to a task, right? You need phone help, there's someone at corporate to help with phone. If you need someone to help with the seller's questions, you have someone else to help with the seller's questions. You need marketing help, there's another person at corporate. So it's kind of functional. But what this coach does is that he is kind of like a generalist. He helps you with, he's a teacher, an educator, a coach, a therapist, a friend, and a counselor. And a pastor, if you want him to be as well. So, you know, when we go out and work on the business, there's so many things out there that we don't know because we're so new to it, right? So we would face, and he would bring the reality into our living space and help us with the day-to-day stuff that you don't actually learn in the classroom, right? So helps us with that so that we don't fall into a hole. And he's a generalist specialist. He brings with himself 20 over years of real estate experience and basically upskill us with all these things that we have to know along the way in trying to deliver our Pink product. So one of the most important things that my team and I learned, and it's really quite funny because we think we're all grown up, we all know what the word leadership means, right? The thing that he really taught us is that we need to take the leadership to have value conversations with our sellers. Because we were like babies. If we could smell the contract coming, we would be so agreeable, we'd do whatever the seller wants, and we were just in this master-servant relationship. We had no idea because we thought we'll get the contract, and so off we went and started marketing our properties. Very soon, 3 or 4 weeks later, we realized that this isn't working because we're not getting the responses that we need from our sellers. And then we go back to the drawing board, and we realize, well, most of our properties are overpriced because our sellers are out of touch, they're clueless. Some of them are just crazy because they're so emotionally attached to their properties that they've just given us a price. And because we ask, you know, what would you like to have? And they tell us what they want, and we think that's okay. So we've had to have a paradigm shift and understand that we are the professionals. And so this is what we had to learn along the way in the last 2 months very quickly, is that we are hired as professionals. So therefore, we will need to lead our sellers to help them achieve their goal, which is to sell the property and not just to do whatever they want us to do.
Are you getting that training? Is that something that was taught to you, or you had to develop that skill on your own and create the realization and the solution?
And that's exactly what I mean by this coach.
Good.
His name is Mark Collard, and he is another genius. And I think that is so invaluable. And that's why it's taken our learning to a much higher level. And without that reality check on us, and with his experience to guide us through, the pavement and the rocks and all these other things that is not part of the business. But in actual fact, it's all part of experience.
It's funny that you bring this up, because I knew from the moment Michael and I started to really dig into compatibility with what they're selling in terms of this business in a box, if you will, for our audience, that the kind of the same principles would apply as far as who's a good fit and who's not a good fit. And I know for a fact that most people are not a good fit for what Michael provides. I know for a fact that most people are not a good fit for what we provide in the way of one-on-one coaching. And I think my suspicions were correct in that it really does boil down to coachability overall. The reason that, or at least what I'm taking away from this call, is that you're successful because you are following a roadmap and you are adaptable. You're willing to understand that you're a newbie, right? And rookies make mistakes. You're admittedly saying these things here. You're like, I was like a baby. This is admitting, that's a willingness to say to yourself, hey, there are things I need to still develop and learn in order to be successful with this. Because had you continued down the same path whereby you're just agreeable with sellers on everything, you would continue to hit that same brick wall, and you would never be able to write a deal, because no buyer is going to just pay a seller what they want. They're going to pay market value in most cases, right? So I like that. I think that really helps me clarify even further who would be a good fit for this and who wouldn't. And it's okay to not be coachable as long as you're willing to admit it and you're willing to suffer the consequences for that, because I think you get a lot further with help. So I'm really excited about this whole new coaching branch. I wasn't aware of that. That's great.
Yes, and I believe that they've taken on more coaches as well. So this is, I think this is a critical part of the whole success in the business too. You need to have someone holding your hand. And if they're doing a lot of work, they're going to face so many more crises, so many more challenges. And it's kind of nice to have somebody with experience. And even though the coaches may not be experts or are affiliates at all, they don't have to be, but they bring with themselves so much worldly knowledge. And also, I'm kind of a foreigner in this country, and I don't always understand what people say. I understand it differently. So tonight, have someone else be a sounding board all the time and put you on the right track and help you to see things more clearly or see things differently, which is more refreshing.
So you're working full time?
Yes, I am full-time. Some weeks I'm more than full-time, other weeks I'm not.
Okay, fair enough. But you're probably thinking about it far more than 40 hours a week, I would assume. Even if you're taking time maybe away from the office and from your computer, your brain is never really shutting down, I would guess.
I think so. But I think it's also part of my nature that I love business. So I love what—
It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Exactly.
Can you tell I'm very happy?
Yes, I can, always. Exactly how you were last time. I love it. It's the best energy. And so do you think that this is realistically possible for somebody that has a day job?
I think it's going to be very tough, okay? Yeah. And I think Michael and you all have been saying the right thing. It's not for everybody. Unless you're a real genius of some sort, I can't see myself doing this if I have a full-time job.
How capable or possible would it be for somebody to use this model as a side hustle while having a full-time job, raising a family, with the intention of as quickly as possible replacing the day job income and only working on this, right? I always recommend people transition that with initially a supplement of income before finally just going out and diving headfirst into entrepreneurship. I never recommend just quitting your job and losing that income and just crossing your fingers that your side hustle or now full-time profession takes off right away, because most of the time that isn't the case. Most of the time it takes years of development, not months. So what do you think?
Well, let's be realistic about this, okay? If you have a full-time job, you're probably working 35 to 40 hours. I think that if you want to do this as a side hustle, you call it, then you need to have at least 25 hours.
Okay. Because I think Michael says with 15 hours, you might be able to accomplish results, but he's also been very clear that that's going to be tough.
Well, depends how much experience you bring. If through the corporate experience, you're very experienced and you are a business person already in corporate and you do sales very well and you manage lots of, corporate business and sales, you might already have that mindset of setting up businesses. That's different to someone else that's coming in as a nurse or someone else, okay, that may not have had the selling experience. So you do require selling experience. You do require, the ability and the connectivity with people. You're dealing with people, the people business. And also you're going to have some kind of a business acumen, a little bit of savviness with business. And you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to be, you like the challenges and that you're going to enjoy it. If you're not going to enjoy this at all, if you want this to be in a corporate job, you get paid by the hour. So if you do this every day, you work for 2 months and nothing happens and you calculate the hours that you work and you think you're not being paid, you're not the right mindset.
Love it.
This is a business, okay?
Super.
However, when you do succeed, it overrides all the hours that you worked and make your income to be like $500 an hour. So you've got to have a business mindset. So let's say 20 to 25 hours. The reason I say that is because we're all starting new. So 15 hours, if you're seasoned, a business person already can go straight in and put in the ropes, that's different. I'm not saying it can't be done. But again, we have to be realistic and we have to adjust our expectations. So at 25 hours a week, let's say you do 3 months and you do one closing, okay, and you make 20,000 or 30,000 one closing. I think that's fantastic. In the year, you'll make 120 or even maybe 80,000, okay. That's assuming you're doing it by yourself and you're doing the task, all the tasks, the 5 tasks by yourself, the phoning, the contract, the marketing, and the buyers and everything else. Now that's a lot of tasks for one person to do. So again, it comes down to what model. What is your business model? If you do this 20, 25 hours, are you going to bring someone else to help you? Are you going to have an assistant to help you with the phone calls and you just go straight to do the contracts because you know how to? Or are you going to do everything yourself? So I think you need to adjust your expectations on what the possibilities are. So let's say after 6 months, you've got 1 deal or 2 deals. I think that becomes a good benchmark as to whether this is going to work for you full time or not.
So in your case, right, we're almost at that 6-month period. And you made a generous investment into this business, right? So whether you're getting in under a junior associates level or the senior membership level, I think the price range is something between $30,000 and $60,000. That's a lot for a lot of people to invest. As you grow as an entrepreneur and as you build businesses, you'll quickly realize it's not much at all. But if you're transitioning from W-2 mentality into entrepreneurship, it's a tough pill to swallow. Would you do it all over again?
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat.
You would?
It's what I want to do, yes. Yeah. And to me, it's not a lot of money. To me, when I compare with so many other businesses that require so much more, it's all about your mentality. Do you want to be a businessman or a businesswoman, or do you want to be an hourly paid worker?
Right.
If you want to be a business person, then you got to have that business acumen and understand that give myself a year. And then because it's a steep learning curve, let alone the time. All right. So even at full time, it's still a steep learning curve. So if you put in full time, you'll get more rewards. And if you put in less time, yes, you can do it. However, do you have the discipline to work as a business person when you're not being told to work 25 hours? Whereas when you go to work, you have to roll up. And even if you roll up half day, you still get paid. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you're working your own business, you've got to discipline yourself to be working. A lot of people say they're working 25 hours or 30 hours. They're not. They're texting. They're reading stuff. That's not working.
100%. Yeah, great point. How much money do you expect to make with Little Pink over the first year?
Well, I was hoping it was going to be $1 million and I get $500,000. That was what my goal was. However, the first few months has been a very steep learning curve. I think conservatively, I think if you go full time, you should be able to make $250,000 to start.
Great. So that'd be first year. And then you think second year, well above that because your
$500,000
learning curve is beyond you at that point.
So let's just say that because I was away for a month, right? Remember I started in November, December.
That's right.
And then there was stop-start because of the Christmases. And then I went away for a month and then came back in the middle of February.
So technically speaking, you're really closer to about between 3 and 4 months, right?
Seriously working, yes. Yeah. Seriously working, yeah. Not as long as I had hoped.
Sure.
But understand that as we build the business, the experience itself is the greatest teacher. So
for sure.
You can have a whole group of all these Olympic people, Olympic standard people, geniuses helping you. But if you don't do the groundwork and you don't get the experience is going to be the greatest teacher of all. This is quite funny because I say that in our experience, it literally took us 6 to 8 houses for us to learn how to get a marketable property.
Oh,
because
wow.
most of our properties in the beginning were overpriced, and we didn't know it was overpriced. Remember, we were like babies. We were clamoring for whatever we can get, and we were so happy, right? We didn't argue, we didn't rationalize, we didn't do anything to make sure that they are marketable properties. So, for example, one property was an investor. We had 3 contracts with him, and his contract was delayed with the way he was rehabbing, and it was so badly done, had so many problems. In the end, we had to terminate him. So we lost 3 contracts there. A couple of contracts, the guys were running out of time because they were going through foreclosure, and they were owing hard loan money, and then they were running out of time, and they couldn't wait for us to have the 3 months to sell it, and so they decided to rent the property. So there were things that we weren't in control of, and that we didn't know at that time.
And this, having been in the real estate world for so long, is exactly what you would want to expect. In whatever field you choose in real estate, this is exactly how I've seen it go, right? Whether you want to be a retail agent or a mortgage broker, these are the kinds of experiences you should expect. And I'm just impressed by the fact that you're in the tens of thousands of dollars in revenue stage within the first technically 3.5 months worth of effort. It's impressive. It's I think comparably a very, very solid outcome based on, do I get involved in this business or do I get involved in this business over here? I would say that is a very impressive collection of results for the amount of money you put in so far. The return on your investment is obviously working out. I continue to be impressed and proud of what you're doing. I also, want to acknowledge that, results do vary, and people could come in and they might find a really great system for building a team that generates, 5 times what you've managed to in 3.5 months. Or you might have the exact opposite happen where somebody makes the same investment you do and they don't have a single deal in the first 3.5 months. So I appreciate that there are some definite variables involved here, but I like the evidence. I want to keep seeing evidence. And I would hope that you're comfortable coming back again. I like this kind of ongoing, let's check in after your first year and see how, the last 12 months went. Because here we are, almost halfway through chronologically. But again, of course, we've got to factor in that there was a month and a half or so that didn't really count. So I just want to thank you again for your time, Tan. You're such a pleasure to have on here. Like I said, your energy is always so bright. I think you, at the very least, can make people feel optimistic about being an entrepreneur at some point in their lives. Because of the geographical restrictions, because there is a limited supply in each region, I keep making the same level of urgency clear on these videos that I think you are missing out. If you know you have what it takes, there is a clock that's ticking.
Absolutely, yes. And the thing is that the good thing is that when you come in now, sure, we're in now and we're the only ones in Atlanta. So we're like the pioneers. So it comes to the territory that a lot of things will be experimental, a lot of things will be new to us, and we will have a lot more challenges. So if you come in later, maybe these challenges may be evened out later, but I'm sure the price of the franchise will be a lot more as well.
Good point. Or it doesn't exist because they've already, the market is gone, right? It's already been
Correct.
consumed. And that happened actually. I brought in an Atlanta-based affiliate and Michael said, sorry, we're full in Atlanta, just so you're aware. I even asked him to pull some strings for me and it was a no-go. I like that. I like that there is a limited supply from that standpoint, that they are protective over the markets. But I do, again, think that's a downside because it's not available to anyone anytime. You really can't just sit around and continue to do nothing. You have to take action with this one in particular if you see an opportunity that you think you're capable of. But I do like what you said. For everybody, expect discomfort. You've got to welcome the challenges. You just should enjoy what you're doing. Yes. If you hate it, if you don't like it, it's the wrong project for you. Yes. If you like it, but you know that you're going to be forced out of your comfort zone, then welcome to the wonderful world of business. That's how it goes. And we become familiar with, welcoming challenges and discomfort. It's just an everyday thing. So, well, again, I'm going to let you get going. I know you've got to get off to the airport. I thank you again so much. I would encourage everybody to just check out the rest of the videos throughout the Little Pink Houses of America playlist. We'll put those in the description below. If you're not yet a subscriber, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're always talking about how do we generate more money? How do we pay off our debts quickly? How do we beat the banks and turn them against each other? How do we use our credit in order to leverage and even leverage into these amazing opportunities? Michael and Scott have a franchise or affiliate payment plan. You can get involved by actually financing this opportunity as well if you're a good fit. If you don't manage your credit well, that also wouldn't be available. So very important to stay subscribed to the channel. Check out all the videos here. Drop a like on this video if you want us to continue to bring Ton and others back who are doing what they're doing on their side, and we can obviously share their stories and talk about what's great and what's not great, and give you guys as much info as possible. So until we see you on the next video, thank you so much, everybody. Make it a great day. Ton, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Matt. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.